Well. College football fans, Clemson Tiger fans, welcome into another episode of the Clemson Tiger live post-game reaction here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. I am your host, Tiger Paul Craven. I will be joined by a couple co-hosts here momentarily, but before we get into that, it was La Tech week. It was an interesting game to say the least. I know me and my co-hosts have plenty to talk about in this game, both good and bad. Um, but before we get started with that, thoughts and prayers to the Brzee family again. Thinking about them, hoping that they are spending time with family and trying to just love each other as much as they can. I know the Clemson family is doing their part, reaching out and all that good stuff. But without further ado, I will bring on my co-host, and it is none other than the Jordan Bowman, who will be joined shortly here by Dandre. I think he's having a few technical difficulties, but if he gets back in, we'll bring him in as well. Jordan, thanks for joining me tonight, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, what a game. Really interesting game.
What a game, man. It was interesting. I think it was unexpected. I expected Clemson to really roll in this game, and if you look at the final score, it looks like they did that. But there were parts in that game, mainly the first half. Not gonna lie, I was pretty heated with that first half performance. That first half performance was absolutely terrible. 13-6 at the end of the half. I mean, that kind of stuff just doesn't get it done for a Clemson team that we expect to, have ACC aspirations and hopefully, if everything works out, maybe some playoff aspirations. What do you think?
Yeah, this team is still clearly a work in progress, another mixed bag, really on both sides of the ball. I mean, you mentioned that first half was just a lot of weird stuff going on,
That was strange.
If I had to take one play to summarize how the first half went, it was that blocked field goal that was made by special teams, and then it was recovered by Barrett Carter, and then he proceeds to fumble it and give it right back to the Louisiana Tech offense. And I think that was kind of the point where the momentum kind of died. And Dabo pointed that out in the in his halftime interview. It was just a turning point, and it seemed like the air was kind of let out of the offense and out of a lot of the players at that point. Because Clemson came out really strong in that game. In this game, they moved the ball well, scored on their first two drives. DJ looked sharp for the most part. Joseph Ngata had that big catch. That was really nice to see. But yeah, it seemed like the momentum swung back to Louisiana Tech, and Clemson could never really get possession back again. I think Louisiana Tech won the time of possession in that first half. And especially in the second quarter. So it was that first half was something else.
Yeah, I think it was like 13 to almost 17 minutes or something like that in the first half. It was pretty big discrepancy when it comes to time of possession, and it looked like things were going as planned. Right, first two drives. I kind of missed the first drive. I don't know if you saw the first drive.
I did,
but
yeah.
I popped it on because I was watching the ACC network. And the game wasn't coming on. And
that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's on ACC Extra. I was like, what the heck is ACC Extra?
Yeah,
so I went on my ESPN app.
And I had to go on the ESPN app to get that first half. It was
that's exactly how I did it. And I turned it on as they were kicking the field goal, and I was like, oh, I thought it was an extra point initially, and then it was a 3-point field goal, and I was like, oh, okay. Kicked a field goal. Not really happy about that, but fine, whatever. First drive, went down there and scored. Defense came on, did what they did. Offense drove right back down, got a touchdown. DJ was looking pretty good. DJ looked pretty good the whole game, in my opinion. He made some great throws tonight. Some receivers performed well. Some receivers made some great catches. And Ngata had that big one down the sideline Bo had a big catch. Antonio Williams had a big catch. There was a lot of guys with some big catches, but as you said, we got kind of bogged down in that first half. It was a lot of errors, some holding penalties and just stuff that killed drives in the first half, and we couldn't quite seem to get rolling. And much like we saw against Furman last week, the defense, kind of struggled, man. Like giving up, quite a bit of yards. I know we were talking before we came on here, but I'm really starting to worry about our secondary. Do you think there is reason for concern with this defense overall, or do you think it's just a secondary issue? What do you think is going on with these back-to-back performances we've seen where they're giving up quite a bit of yards? It looks like some easy passes, things like that.
I'm a little concerned. Obviously the Clemson defense was a little shorthanded tonight.
Yeah,
Especially with Wiggins and we found out that Sheridan Jones was out and Andrew Makuba didn't play. So they were very their starting guys, their best guys were not in the game, but
right.
the guy our depth at corner was really tested tonight, and they did not really pass that test.
Yeah, it
Just
shows we need those starters.
yeah,
We need Makuba, we need Wiggins, we need those dudes out there
y-
because we're
y-
not good behind them.
yeah, and as good as we've heard great things about guys like Toriano Pride and Jaden Lucas and Fred Davis. Although he's not really a young guy, this is his third year in the program, but he's been in and out of the lineup. Just they did not play all that well. So like you said, they gave up a lot of easy completions, a lot of miscommunications. That big play down the sideline
Down the
where it
sideline,
seemed
yeah.
like Fred
Where
Davis wasn't even like on the same page. Like he just let the guy run past him.
Yeah, and there was like two or three dudes around that guy that he like broke for, and
Yeah,
then the dude's just like skirting up the sideline, and the safety's having to like haul butt over there to cover down. That was a
that was a
weird,
hell of a tackle. I don't know who made that. I
yeah.
don't know which safety made that play. Was that Phillips or Mickens? It was somebody that saved that touchdown.
I want to say it was Mickens, but I'm not sure honestly. I
Yeah,
don't remember, but it was like
Mickens' play
it
I've
was
been very pleased with, to be honest.
yeah it
I
was
feel like Mickens has played pretty well, but
yeah, he had that big interception. Good
yeah.
play.
Um, but yeah, just and they talked about it, after the Furman game. Just they need to be better in their man technique, and I think you saw it at times, but there's
Mhm.
still just a lot of they're still playing a lot of soft coverage, and they're not really being breaking on the ball and making plays on the ball when they need to. We should have. It felt like they should have already known that, given the opponent we were playing. This is what the air raid is all about.
Yeah,
They throw quick passes. They really want to get the ball to their playmakers out in space. Get the ball out quickly. Don't sit back in the pocket for too long. Not a whole lot of long developing routes, and so you knew that they would have to be disciplined in the short game, and you just didn't see that.
yeah. Honestly, I thought we'd see a much better performance out of the defense tonight. We knew coming into this game, especially after last week and what Furman was really able to do to the Clemson defense, and kind of maybe expose some weaknesses that they currently have right now. Hopefully, we get those patched up and fixed. But I thought we would come in with a much better game plan when it came to. There was a lot of quick passes. You saw first play of the game for La Tech was what? It was a screen pass. We knew it was coming, right? Um, so I thought we'd see a lot better game plan with that. And as far as the soft coverage, I mean, it seems like we play a lot of soft coverage, and I don't know if that's a thing they're coaching or a scheme that they're trying to run, but it is, especially when there's a missed tackle or dudes are not on the same page. Like you see the Fred Davis thing we were just talking about. It creates a lot of big plays, and it gashes our defense.
Yeah.
It's not really like our defense doesn't really get like methodical drives done on them. I think the front seven are just too good for that. With some of the teams we're playing right now, that begs to be seen later on in the season. That could change with a lot better offenses starting next week against Wake Forest, right? But it's more of like big gash plays, like miscommunication in the back end leads to a big pass, and then suddenly, they're in Clemson territory, they're deep into Clemson territory, and we're trying to fight to get them to kick a field goal and keep them out of the end zone. And I think that's what happens a lot of times with our defense. And then the offense sometimes gets they get out of rhythm, and then the defense starts spending an extended amount of time on the field. And especially with as shorthanded as the defense was tonight, I mean, on all levels, really. The defensive line, we're missing a couple people. Tyler Davis, obviously Brian Brzee. We already mentioned the dudes in the back end we're missing. Sheridan Jones went down. Not really sure what happened to him. Yeah. But hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it was more of a precautionary thing. But hopefully we see a little bit better play in the back end as the weeks come. They will be tested next week, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's a good point. And we have to take a step back sometimes and think this was a concern for some Clemson fans going into the year. The guys at corner. You lose your top two corners in Mario Goodrich and Andrew Booth, the two first-team All-ACC guys that played a lot of snaps for you last season. There just wasn't a whole lot of, the guys that are coming in to replace them just haven't seen a whole lot of, first-team reps. And so this was just kind of that, there's going to be some growing pains, and I think we just have to, Clemson fans just have to accept that. And just be prepared for, there's going to be mistakes along the way. And yeah, I think you saw that tonight. Sheridan Jones is very experienced, and it was clear they missed him. He's a leader in that. I mean, I don't think he's some all-world corner, but I think he's been in the program a long time. He knows what's expected, and he can kind of coach up the young guys. And so not having him there was kind of big. You had to see more of Malcolm Green tonight, and he had some good play. I thought he had some good plays. He had an interception. That was good to see. But yeah, all in all, just a really mixed bag. I think the biggest thing is getting the young corners to get their head around and make a play on the ball. It felt like a lot of times they were face guarding, doing all sorts of doing all of that stuff, and just kind of getting. And giving up some pretty easy releases. They got ran by a couple of times, beat a couple of times. So just being more physical is going to be key. But I don't want to spend too much time on the corners because everybody in the chat saw what we saw. They know what.
Everybody knows the deal with the corners. But other than kind of those big pass plays that we gave up that I think translated into some yards against our defense. Overall, I think our defense played pretty well, right? Like, let's talk about the running game as far as La Tech's side of the ball and how Clemson was able to shut that down. What did you see?
Yeah, they look great. I thought the ends were very disciplined. Miles Murphy got a lot more involved. Louisiana Tech, when they did run it, they tried to get the ball out to the outside. That their running back, they have Crosby. That's what he does best is when he's running outside the tackles, and I thought they contained that pretty well. Linebackers flew to the ball, so that was good. I was impressed with the interior play. Peyton Page was in there a lot, playing a lot of nose, and he looked really good even when he got injured. I was glad to see him come back because that was a little concerning. But I thought Peyton Page played really well tonight. He was forced into a bigger role with Trey Williams being out and Tyler Davis and Brian, all the guys we mentioned. Rook played really well as well. Yeah. I thought the defensive line in general was very disciplined, a lot more, like I said, a lot more disciplined than they were against Furman. So that was really good to see. What was the number? Like 6 rushing yards on the game?
6 rushing yards total.
Can't really complain there.
Yeah, 6 rushing yards total for La Tech. I don't care who you're playing. If you hold somebody to 6 rushing yards, your front seven are doing their job. Yeah. I would like to mention Rook. I think he played an outstanding game tonight. I kept seeing him, and he wasn't always getting to the quarterback or making the tackle, but he was being disruptive up front for Clemson. And like we said before, much like the secondary tonight, the defensive line was shorthanded, right? No Brian Brzee, no Tyler Davis. XT was rumored to be returning in this game. I think they probably just figured it's La Tech. Let's give him another week to get healthy and truly be ready to go. Maybe get a few more practice reps underneath him before he goes out there. But I think our defensive line held up great. Like you said, we kept contained for the whole night, which I like to see coming out of Furman last week, where the quarterback broke contain repeatedly against us. You didn't see that happen tonight. You didn't see the running backs able to break contain against our defense. No real big rushes, so that was good to see. I think we did a good job controlling the quick pass game. You saw a lot of the linebackers getting in there and really breaking up some passes in the quick passing game. So I think that was good to see. So overall, some improvements on the defense, I think, and some non-improvements. But I like what I saw, and I think we can continue to build on that. I think moving over to the offensive side of the ball, we will quickly move through the quarterback situation. I don't want to spend any more time on it. I don't think you do either. The ship has sailed. It is settled, regardless of what you thought about DJ after week one. And I know me, I had a lot of concerns. I was not sold, but he's proven it. The last two games, I think you can agree, he's proven it. You've seen where Cade has come in and he's struggled, albeit, when he comes in, he's playing with the twos, but it is what it is. Look, he's also playing against inferior opponents as well. So you have to take that into consideration. I think DJ is playing with a lot more confidence, I see. He's coming out firing. He looks more comfortable in the pocket. I still think he gets happy feet when he feels a little bit of pressure. But overall, he's improved. He's going through his progressions. He's putting a lot more touch on the ball, I think, giving the receivers a chance on the outside for those one-on-one plays. What do you think?
Yeah. And also I wanted to point out his running ability tonight was I was really impressed with how he ran the ball. I mean, he did that a little bit against Furman last week too, but
yeah,
he escaped some really tough situations at times with his legs, and I thought that was huge. He got a big first down on the 3rd and long one time. But he looked a lot more elusive than I've seen him in a long time. He's more of a problem to handle, when he's out in space. And when he tucked the ball and ran, I thought he was juking some guys out of their shoes, and I was
you see him juke that one dude. It was number 4 or whatever.
He little sidestep he's got is working. I don't it looks weird when you watch it, but it just freezes defenders and they don't know what to do. And so and then he gets that momentum rolling, and he's a tough guy to tackle.
Right.
And that was cool to see. It's kind of like a snowball effect. Like it takes him a while to get going, but once he gets rolling and he starts feeling himself a shake and bake, it's a wonder to watch. So that was cool.
It's kind of funny, man, because it's not the smoothest looking thing a lot of the times, but it gets the job done, man. And he has shown more so in these past 2 games, I think, that he is a little bit faster. He is much shiftier than he used to be. I mean, before he had literally nothing.
Lefty.
Exactly. Running with cinder blocks on, right?
Yeah.
But he's gotten a lot more elusive, I think. He can make guys miss, and really escape the pocket. We've seen that. I mean, he's put together quite a few first downs with his legs. And that's a good thing to see, and that's a staple in Clemson's offense, right? As we get deep into the season, we utilize the quarterback run more. Do I think DJ's ever going to be a great runner of the football at the quarterback position? No, but I think he has improved that part of his game substantially, and I think that bodes well for him as we go deeper into the season. So all good things there. Let's talk about the offensive line a little bit tonight, since we had such a great night rushing. I think let me get the stat here. What did we have rushing? We had 280 yards rushing on 39 carries tonight. So let's give the big boys up front a little bit of love. Talk about the offensive line a little bit.
Yeah, this is the first game this season that they really actually got a push when they should have,
Yeah,
and that's very encouraging. It again, it's Louisiana Tech. They don't have the best defensive front, but last week against Furman, it took a while to get some push up there, and obviously Georgia Tech was a struggle a lot of that time. So I was really impressed with the offensive line asserting themselves. They played with a lot more physicality. They actually moved guys in the run game, and there was still some stuff they had to clean up, but all in all, they just they moved guys out of the way, and I thought that was big. And you compound that with DJ being more of a threat running the ball, and it just opened up a lot more running lanes because they had to respect that, and it allowed Shipley to get going,
right.
and obviously we'll talk about his big day, but yeah, the offensive line, that was the best performance they've had all night.
Yeah,
Not all night, all season.
all
So
season.
I was really impressed with that.
Absolutely. I like Christian gets in says, nice to be able to lean on the run. It is. And it was really nice, to your point, seeing the offensive line finally get a push and finally be able to assert their dominance on a defense, albeit latex defensive line and defensive front. Again, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's nice to see it. We're supposed to make that happen. So it's nice to see it when it does. When it's supposed to happen and the offensive line responds and they do what they're supposed to do, um, it's a breath of fresh air, right? So and it builds momentum and it builds confidence for those guys. Look, there's been a lot of change coming into the season on the offensive line. There was a lot of scrutiny on the offensive line. So to see those guys really step up and really put together a performance like they did tonight, I think that will I think that will help us as we go deeper into the season, as the competition stiffens, as the defensive lines get bigger and more athletic. That confidence, um, you just can't duplicate that kind of stuff, right? When you actually go out on the field in front of all these fans in a packed stadium and you put together an effort like that, it just does something for you in the confidence, I think, and I think that's what we've seen for DJ this year too. Is kind of putting it on the field, and you can see a difference in him. So I like seeing those two things happening for the Clemson offense. But I guess the natural transition here is we talked about the offensive line and the push that they got. Let's talk about our running back room and the day that Will Shipley put up in Death Valley.
Yeah. Yeah, Shipley was Will Shipley. It was good to see.
He did his thing.
Yeah. How many rushing touchdowns does he have on the year now? He has to have like 6 through 3 games. It feels like he's had at least
He's
2 every
got
single game.
let me look it up real quick. I'll tell you.
He's got to be close to breaking a record at this point.
Yeah, so he has 6 now.
Yeah, you see, it felt like it. I was like,
He had 4 coming into the game, and
Yep.
he had 2 tonight. So yeah, that's 6 for him on the season, which is through 3 games. That's a lot of touchdowns. So
Yeah, and and a lot of that came in most of that came in the second half. A lot of his rushing yardage,
oh yeah,
and that kind of goes back to the first half struggles, and it was kind of like why did Clemson not run the ball more when they should have? I think DJ threw like at least close to 20 passes in the first half, and I was really perplexed on why they didn't they didn't want to establish the run early because it was working. You saw that stat
right.
on the TV broadcast. He was like in the first half he had 5 carries for 35 yards and like a
Yep.
touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 7 yards a carry. Why aren't you
Right.
leaning on that until they force you to stop it? Because I feel like it would have forced it forced their defenders to come up a little bit more, and they couldn't sit back in coverage. because there was a lot of times where DJ dropped back and guys were covered, and because it didn't seem like they had to respect the run game. But I think once the first half ended and they went through halftime, it looked like there was they kind of woke up a little bit and decided we actually have a matchup advantage here. Let's actually use it. Shipley is our best playmaker on offense. Get him the ball. So, and they finally did that to great effect.
Yeah, and we kind of hit on it a little bit before we jumped on here, but yeah, just talking about not utilizing the run game as much as they should have in the first half. Some of that play calling was a little questionable, I think. When you have your biggest playmaker on offense through the first 3 games of the season, really having that kind of impact on the game, albeit only 5 carries. But when you're averaging those kind of yards, I would think you would look at your offensive line, especially when you got a defensive backfield that's struggling a little bit. They're giving up some big plays. Defense is getting gashed a little bit. Maybe controlling the clock, slowing the game down would have been a little bit more beneficial in the first half and may have got them in a rhythm quicker. I'm glad we got to it at halftime. So maybe that's something they saw and obviously did an adjustment on that because we exploded in the second half. We really started running the ball and imposing our will on the Louisiana Tech defense. So that was good to see. Maffa got some good carries tonight. I think he was seven carries for 30 yards. So 4.3 yards a carry. Not bad for him. Kobe Pace, only 4 carries, 10 yards. What do you think's going on with Kobe Pace that he's not really being seen in the rotation too much? You think it's just the emergence of Will Shipley mainly and then Maffa behind him, or what do you think the reason for him kind of not seeing as much playing time as you would think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say right now. I think it's just been it's a slow start for him. He's gotten the ball in some kind of disadvantaged situations. I think sometimes when I've seen him carry the ball, it doesn't seem like some of his runs are as well blocked. So I don't know, why that is, but I was happy to see him get that touchdown at the end. I think he needed to see the ball cross the plane for him. So hopefully, that builds up his confidence a little bit. But yeah, I really couldn't tell you what it is right now. But hopefully we see more of him, and when he does get the ball, he gets a little bit better push from the line and stuff like that, and he has a little bit more opportunity.
Yeah, I hope we see him a little bit more. I thought coming into the season, all Clemson fans were talking about, we got a 3-headed monster at running back, and we can really go win with any of those dudes, and it kind of hasn't happened for Pace yet this season. But like you say, it's a long season, and we're gonna need him later on in the season, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So I hope he stays healthy. I hope his head stays in the game. In the time of transfers that we are in, you're always worried when a dude's not getting as many touches as maybe everybody thought he would, or probably he thought he would. So that's always a concern, but hopefully we don't have to deal with that. Hopefully we can keep cruising on and keep that running back room together. But we'll transition to kind of the wide receiver group tonight and how they performed. We got our first look at Adam Randall tonight. I think he maybe had a couple targets, 1 catch. Bo Collins did some good things tonight, I think. Joseph Ngata made a couple or some really good catches. That one on the sideline comes to mind particularly. Antonio Williams is still showing that he should be a starter and that he probably will be for the remainder of the season. He's just an explosive guy. But if you look down the stat sheet, as far as the wide receiver room, DJ did a good job tonight of spreading the ball around. We don't have a single receiver with more than 3 catches, and that's Joseph Ngata. So the ball was really spread around a lot tonight. What was your overall take on the wide receiver group tonight?
Yeah, DJ, he distributed the ball really well. And sometimes the receivers didn't do him favors. I'm still I still want EJ Williams to really get it together. He had a couple drops, and Ngata had a drop over them, and DJ put it right on the money, a little
Yep,
RPO slant, and
right in his
it was right,
face.
hit him right in the face mask, and then
Yep.
just came out of his hands. But I thought DJ, other than that, I mean, he really distributed the ball well, and he found guys when they were open for the most part. It was a good. I know we're not really talking about the tight ends, but you saw Davis Allen get one towards the end, get a nice catch towards the end. So it's good to see that DJ's not locking on to one guy, or he's trying to get everybody involved. And I think that's going to be huge for this team going forward, is having multiple guys that the defense has to respect and account for. It doesn't seem like he's stuck on one guy like it seemed like at times last year. So and that's going to be huge going forward.
Yeah, we had 11 different guys with receptions tonight. So for a total of 20 receptions, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns. Overall, a pretty good night for both the receiver room and DJ, I think. And again, we still have a case of the dropsies. I'm not really sure why, but it's not just one guy; it's multiple guys. You did talk a little bit about EJ Williams. I really would like to see. I mean, that dude. I feel like he has all the physical tools to be a great receiver. I don't really know what's going on. I know Dabo kind of mentioned, he might be in his head a little bit, maybe lacking some confidence with all the back-to-back injuries he's had. But I hope he gets a few more opportunities. But, I mean, if he keeps dropping the ball consistently like he does every time he comes in the game, eventually you're going to get buried in that room with all those guys, especially when you got guys like Adam Randall, who was pretty much on a pitch count tonight. You didn't see him a whole lot, but he looked pretty good when he was in. And if he is what the coaching staff says he is, we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future, hopefully next game, preferably.
Yeah. And to your point, Adam Randall, he had one really nice catch, a little curl route. He did a good job of out physicaling the DB and creating separation for himself and for DJ to hit him. I thought that was really good. He had and then DJ targeted him into the end zone. That probably should have been a pass interference in that back corner of the end zone. I was surprised the ref didn't throw the flag. I thought the DB got there early, but I won't get up too upset. But I feel like he could have got one there. I really wanted it for him, but
I think the DB definitely got there early on that one.
But all in all, it was good to see Adam Randall just get some action. I hope some Clemson fans didn't expect him to just like come out and go off and just go crazy.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
It would be.
But that was about what I expected. I knew Randall was going to be limited. They weren't going to have him do a whole lot of. It didn't even seem like they had him do a whole lot of cutting. It was a lot of stick routes, and then that go in the end zone. Right. But I knew he wasn't really going to. They weren't going to make him, do a whole lot of complicated routes right now, and and obviously they weren't going to play him a whole lot.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, coming in, they talked about he was going to be, kind of on a pitch count. And, it looks like they gave him some easy routes. And I think the idea was probably just to get him into the game. That feel of a game is obviously different, especially in a place, like Death Valley. So I think it was just maybe getting him over that, first game jitters, maybe getting him a few routes. He got a catch. So hopefully that builds some confidence for him going in. Bible Belt Beauties gets into the comments, says, I notice we don't hear that jug machine running in post-practice interviews like we have in years past.
I've never really listened for it, but
I haven't either, but that's an interesting comment. I don't know if that's true or not. Typically I'm trying to freaking hear what the question is.
Yeah, because man, at Clemson, that's a whole nother thing. They gotta figure that out, man. That setup is terrible. You can never hear what the reporter is asking, and because only the coach has a mic. and
Right.
it sounds like someone talking from all the way across the facility, trying to
Right.
ask a question, and you're
And
like, I have no idea what he's
depending on the
responding to.
reporter, sometimes you can hear a little bit of what they're saying. Some people talk so quiet you can't hear them at all. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, and Dabo, they'll ask him about a specific player and he'll start going off and just saying but they won't mention the name. And I'm like, I don't know who the heck he's talking about right now. Like, who are we talking about?
Right.
So I don't understand it. Look, Clemson's got some of the best facilities in the country. I don't know why we can't get reporters mics when they're asking coaches questions.
Yeah.
It has bothered me for so long, and I feel like there's no reason talking about it because it's never going to change.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you watch other schools that their post game and their post practice interviews, and you can they have mics and you can hear what the reporters saying. I'm like, what? I mean, what are they doing differently? Like,
right?
Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole. We're getting on a tangent.
Yeah. We're going on a tangent. Let's get back. That Dabotron looked killer.
Oh yeah, it did.
It did look killer. I like it. Did you happen to see the light show at the beginning of the game? The new entry that they did?
I saw a little bit of it. They showed like highlights of it. I'll have to go back and watch. I hope someone got it. I think people got it on video. So
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I haven't seen it, but I was excited to see it. But again, I missed the first drive because
ACC network.
ACC network is stupid.
Yes,
but we won't get too much into that. All right, so that kind of wraps up the offense and the defense. Any other overall thoughts on the game that you want to get into, that you want to talk about?
Well, I guess we can give the special teams some love.
Let's talk about the special teams.
I mean, no mistakes. I mean, we talked about the block field goal. That was good. Obviously, the recovery got fumbled, but other than that, there weren't a whole lot of mistakes. Punt coverage was good. Kickoff coverage was good for. I think they had one. They had one little. Nice return when Clemson was pinned back. But other than that, I thought
I didn't like that. That was like a 21-yard return, not in a good time because we were kind of. I think the punter was on like the 5 or 10-yard line, somewhere like that. I always feel like our punts are a little short too. I don't know why. Maybe that's just me. I don't.
Well, new punter, obviously. I think Swanson has done a lot better than it seemed like he was going to do based on what we were hearing out of fall practice.
You heard the first day of fall practice, like, oh God, Clemson can't punt at all.
Yeah,
they're going to have to go for it on fourth down every single time.
Yeah, and Dabo was brutally honest. He said that was the worst day of punting I've ever seen. I was like, oh no, we're in trouble. But other than that, special teams look good. I do want to mention Dabo's game management leaves a little bit to be desired, at least at the end of that game. When Clemson was up, what was it, 34-13, and they did that mass substitution.
Right.
And the offense goes 3 and out. They give Louisiana Tech short field, and they go right down and score
a touchdown. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's a 2-touchdown game, and you have to put the first stringers back in. I was like, why? And
then we kept the offense, the second string offense, out there for another series.
Yeah.
Then we had, I don't know if it was a 3 and out, but it was a pretty quick series. And then defense is right back on the field. You gotta it's just not. The game wasn't over yet, It wasn't completely out of reach, as we saw, because he got uncomfortable real quick and put DJ back in there with the first string offense and got a good drive when we needed one, which was nice to see because I think DJ at that time, he had been out for 2 drives.
Yeah, he'd been out for a while. He was on the bike, he was clear, like he wasn't expecting to go back in.
Right.
And then he went right back in, and he looked good, and he led the offense right down the field. And, he didn't have to do a whole lot because they ran the ball so well, but he got it seemed he did everything right. He managed the game and, put the game away and, gave Clemson a comfortable lead again. So that was good to see.
That was really good to see. because I was a little worried. You sit on the sideline for a couple series. You can get tight.
Yep.
Suddenly, the other team's got. I wouldn't say there was a momentum shift, but they had a little bit of juice going from that drive they just had, and it got shut down real quick with that Clemson offensive drive. So very good to see from both DJ and the rest of the ones on offense to really come in and ice that game.
We also got a Hunter Johnson sighting as
John
in the comments.
Old man Hunter came in the game.
Yeah.
It seemed like all he did was hand the ball off, but they did let him in the game.
Yeah, and they ran. Honestly, they look really good. They ran the ball really well. You saw Dominique Johnson and
I did.
Dominique Johnson looked good, number 20, and oh shoot, who was that? Was Keith? Was it Keith Adams that was out there too?
Pretty sure that was Keith Adams Jr.
Yep. Okay.
Three rushes, 21 yards, 7 yards a carry. He was gashing them too. He got a couple. Yeah, he had a couple. He ran pretty hard. That was cool to see. I love Dominique Johnson. They call him what do they call him? Quad. Yeah,
Quadzilla.
Yeah,
because he's got them. He's got them massive legs, man.
He's got tree trunks for legs. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy does not skip leg day. It's really impressive, and he runs like it too. He was
turning. He does is leg day.
Yards.
He doesn't do. He doesn't do any sort of upper body. I mean, I'm sure he does, but he's all about the leg day.
Yeah, and he runs like it. He's just pounding, driving those legs. He looked really good.
Powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see Hunter Johnson to come in the game, kind of get the. Some younger guys in, and then still see that running game. Now, I'm sure at that point, Louisiana Tech was less than enthused about tackling fresh running backs at that point. So that probably contributed a little bit, but it was good to see. Good to see Hunter Johnson out there. I know Clemson vet that bounced around a little bit, and who knows? College football is crazy, so we may need him later on in the year. I hope not. Because that probably means some bad things happen. It means some bad things happen. But I said La Tech appeared to have Cade scouted well. He couldn't get to the edge. I think that's kind of been put on tape a little bit. Cade really likes getting out of the pocket, scrambling to his right side, and either throwing it downfield or getting what he can with his legs. So I'm sure they had that scouted out a little bit, but I think Cade did okay when he came in. The offense just hit. I mean, there was a couple drives where I think they were moving the ball a little bit, and then penalty here, penalty there, and then suddenly you go from. I think he scampered for a first down, and then I don't know who got the holding penalty, but you go from having a first down to now you're backed up, and now you're going to punt. So. Yeah. It wasn't all on Cade. It's not his fault.
I think it was Kobe Pace that got the holding penalty.
Was it Pace?
I think I remember. Yeah, because I remember him calling it on 7. I think it was. Yeah, so that was which was unnecessary because he was completely away from the play. But
Cade was all the way on the right side.
Big Mick and B2. Yeah, it was Kobe Pace. Yeah, I knew it was. Yeah, I was like, I don't think it was a lineman. I think it might have been. I think it was Pace. But yeah, Cade, he showed. I mean, there's still stuff he needs to work on. He bails. I feel like he bails from a clean pocket too early.
He does
sometimes, and he really wants to get outside, even when it's maybe that's not the best course of action.
Right.
But it's part of it's part of the learning experience, and I still want to see him get in the game, obviously, and get meaningful reps because he's the future at the position, and He's clearly very talented. We've already seen it. When he's on, he looks great. So
he looks good when he's on.
Get him, get those reps, let him make those mistakes. When the game is in hand, Dabo, when the game is comfortably in hand, give him those opportunities.
We could have waited one more drive, and then brought Cade in for the rest of the game.
21 is a little 21 is kind of iffy because it's like if you mess up and they score, all of a sudden it's a game again. But
which is what happened, kind of.
28 plus, you can feel a little bit better, especially when if you can visibly tell that the other team is kind of checking out, maybe putting in some other, their second stringers in, but
right.
yeah, don't.
And I think that probably would have happened if DJ would have came in another series and put that touchdown up before La Tech got their touchdown. I think that would have, I think they would have.
I feel like things would have been different.
Yeah.
WBT. Yeah, we talked about the no call PI in the end zone. The one on you talking about the one on Randall that wasn't called? That was disappointing. Yeah.
Yep. That was not cool.
I wanted it for him. I wanted him to get a touchdown, but it was cool. But
yeah, it would have been cool, especially in his first game, to kind of get that. But the refs didn't. They didn't give it to us.
It is unfortunate, and they got, Clemson got a couple PI calls that shouldn't have been called. The one on, Fred Davis didn't have a great night, but the one play he actually, had some good coverage on that little. I think it was either a post or a seam route.
Yep, that one going up the middle.
Yeah, and that he got, he kind of had his arm wrapped around him, but it was kind of ticky-tack. He wasn't grabbing him, and I felt like he timed his swipe really well.
Yeah, he did have – you could see his hand kind of around him, but he was in perfect position. Like that, the dude wasn't catching the ball whether his right hand was on him or not.
Yeah, and it didn't look like he was grabbing him. It looked like he was just kind of bracing, and it was kind of like just kind of holding it. But yeah, it didn't look like he was grabbing him. But
yeah.
Again, I don't want to complain about
technicalities. Technically, it was pass interference if you got your hand over there. So
yeah,
but I think you're right. It was really good positioning by Fred Davis, and as much as he got burned tonight, I think he did make some good plays as well. He did have a few pass breakups and a few good plays to sprinkle in with what I'm sure is a tape that he will learn a lot from, hopefully.
Yeah. And, I think people just got to remember, Fred Davis he's been here a while. I think this is his third year, but he hasn't played a lot of football because, he's spent time injured, and he's spent time in Dabo's doghouse. Obviously we don't have to get too far into the incident he had off the field, with the accident that he should, that was just a dumb decision by him and nearly cost somebody their life. Right. So he's spent a lot of time away from playing meaningful football because he doesn't have his head on straight and stuff like that. So it's just going to take him more time because he's closer to being a freshman really in terms of meaningful game reps than he is a seasoned junior that's that knows what's expected of him. So
right.
You got to keep playing him because it's not like Clemson has a whole lot of options.
You saw the depth at in the back end tonight, and there's not a lot of serviceable depth back there as we saw. So fingers crossed for health on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the back end.
Yeah, I hope Jones is okay because he was the one that played and then got hurt, so we don't know exactly what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
But obviously we need Nate Wiggins back, and Jones and Wiggins are clearly the top two guys right now. They and we need those guys in because they just they play the ball the best and cover. It doesn't seem like they get beat as much. So
we're especially going to need. Hopefully those two dudes are ready for next week. We're especially going to need them next week. Makuba needs to be back. We need everybody back next week. Defense does that. Next week is not a week for a shorthanded defense. We're gonna need everybody, all hands on deck for old Sam Hartman and the Demon Deacons.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you think they were that they had? Well, actually, shout out to D4 in the comments. He said, "What up, Jordan? What's up, D4?" I wanted to ask, did you think that Wake was looking ahead to Clemson today?
I think they were.
Yeah.
I think they were for sure. There's no way. I wasn't even watching the game. And then obviously I flipped over to ACC Network because Clemson's game's about to come on. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what is going on, Wake? Like, what are y'all doing? And then it turned into like a shootout at the end.
Yeah.
And, it would have gone overtime if they didn't try to go for two and miss it.
Yeah.
So I guess they were just chalking it up to, eventually they're going to stop us. So we got to go try to win the game here, which, good for them. But
Yeah, that was an interesting game, and obviously, I don't think that performance was indicative of what we'll see next week. I do think they were kind of looking ahead because they came out really good. I watched the beginning of that game.
right.
Wake scored on the first couple drives, looked like they were going to have the game in hand, and it looked like they just kind of packed it in.
Turned into what our game looked like for a little while.
Yeah,
Except we were able to get control of it in the second half, and they clearly weren't. So
yeah. So that was an interesting game. Just a lot of crazy games today. John Sarian mentioned the Syracuse Purdue game.
Syracuse Purdue game.
That was crazy. I've never seen a team have to kick off from their own 10-yard line. That's
insane.
That's new to me. I have never seen a team shoot themselves that much in the foot with penalties.
I didn't even know that was possible, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone's ever seen that before in an actual football game.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Syracuse, they were out of sorts for a lot of that game too. If you watched, I mean, they played a lot of that game down. At halftime, I think Purdue was up 9-3. But it felt like Purdue should have been up more, and that's the thing. I think this Q's team is really, really scrappy, and so I think Clemson. I mean, when we get
watch out,
we're going to have to.
We better watch out.
I don't think Clemson can afford to take a half off.
It wouldn't be the first time that Q's gives us problems.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, plenty of experience with that. So
we've had some not so good times up in the Carrier Dome before.
Yeah, glad they're coming down here. But even when they've come down here,
just playing Syracuse in general, it seems like they, they're one of those teams that, every now and then they really do give us a lot of problems. Even if we're, there's been years where we were far better than them, and we just barely got the job done. So definitely a team to watch out for, man. I think they're making some noise. I don't think anyone was talking about Syracuse coming into the season. I know I wasn't. Everybody was. I think the only talk about Syracuse coming into the season was, is Dino Babers going to be coaching somewhere else next season, right?
Yeah,
that was kind of the narrative coming in, I think. But they're catching some people's attention now.
Yeah, John Sarian says Q's D line will give DJ fits. I'm more worried about our receivers versus their secondary. Syracuse has some really good cover corners. They kind of got beat towards the end of that game, but Syracuse might have the best secondary in the conference. But Garrett Williams and Deuce Chestnut, I think are about as good as you'll find a cornerback duo, and just that back seven in general, or really back eight because they have a 3-man front. But that back eight in general really plays really well. A lot of experienced guys. Michael Jones at linebacker is really disruptive as a pass rusher. I think he also covers really well. He moves really well. So I think this Clemson offense is going to have to get creative as far as generating yards. And I saw a stat from David Hale on Twitter. He said that since the start of the 2021 season, Syracuse has held their opponent to under 400 yards 12 times. The only ACC team that's done that more is Clemson.
That's insane.
Yeah, so Syracuse's defense is pretty good. It's pretty good.
I was actually at the Clemson-Syracuse game last year in the Carrier Dome. I was still living up in New York at the time.
That had to be stressful.
That was quite a game, dude. I was not happy, and there were plenty of Syracuse fans sitting around me making fun of me for most of the game. But luckily, we got the job done.
Yeah.
For my sake. Anyway.
What was that? Didn't they miss a field goal at the end or something like that?
Yeah, it was something crazy like that. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was something where it went down to. It wasn't. Yeah, the game was still in question throughout the entire game. That stadium's crazy though. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Carrier Dome, but you're right on top of the players. I got tickets on the Clemson sideline, and I was probably 5 or 6 rows up, and you're like the sideline's right there. Like there's no like space. Like when you go to Clemson where it's got, it's kind of bowed out to where
Yeah.
there's some space in between the team and even the first row. Not there, man. You could reach out and touch the players in the Carrier Dome, dude. Like you were right there.
Yeah, and that's part because it's a basketball stadium, so it's
Yeah.
like that's part of that's part of the magic of it. So it's like it doesn't hold that many people, but because everybody is so condensed and just like on top of you, it's just the atmosphere. It creates a really crazy atmosphere. Yeah, John
Yeah.
Sarian says that it's like an amplifier. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like twice as loud.
It's hot
Yeah.
too. There's no AC.
Oh yeah, it gets and
No
it's
AC.
funny because the Carrier is a
Yeah.
it's an AC.
Yeah.
They do AC and stuff.
Sponsored by an AC company. No air
Yeah, and
conditioning.
they don't.
Come on, bro. What are y'all
Yeah.
doing? Trying to kill people in here.
Yeah, well, and it's not. Wait, it's not even called the Carrier Dome anymore, is it? Because they changed
I don't think
it.
so.
I think it's what is it? The somebody. It's like JMA. It was the JMA Wireless or something like that. Now
Yeah.
I'm still going to call it the Carrier Dome.
I don't care. I don't care what they change it to. It's always the Carrier Dome for me.
Yeah. That you see all these stupid name changes, just like how like Heinz Field is no longer Heinz Field. It's whatever it is now.
Yeah, no, it's Heinz Field. I don't care.
It's the ketchup bottle always for me.
Yeah, always. Always will be. No matter how many companies buy sponsorships to change the name, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's another Clemson win. Another win for the good guys. Another win for the home team. We got to build a little bit of momentum in this game, I think, both offensively and defensively. We held La Tech to 6 yards rushing, so I'll take that any day of the week, especially with the key people that we were missing. Gave up way too many passing yards, but again, a lot of those were chunk play passing yards. A lot of that 311 yards were on a few plays. But I think we built some momentum. Look forward to Wake Forest next week. And here's to hopefully being 4-0 this time next week.
Yeah, man. This is when the schedule really gets going. This is no more cupcakes until we play South Carolina, of course. But it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be a challenge for the people in the comment section, the people watching the video right now. Me and Jordan, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Clemson Tigers live post-game reaction here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. Again, we will be here every single week following every Clemson game this season on this channel right here. So stay tuned for more live post-game reactions. And we also do a pregame show every week on this channel as well, a live pregame show. So be on the lookout for both of those shows in the future. We will do a live pregame show for Wake Forest leading into the game. We will do a live post-game reaction. So stay tuned. Both me and Jordan will be here. We do have 2 other guys that normally join us but could not make it tonight. Dandre was having some technical difficulties, and Smitty was as well. But before we get off here, Jordan, go ahead and promote anything that you want to on the channel here or things that you do on other channels.
Yeah. So my name is Jordan Bowman. Other than this, I'm also on D4 Sports channel. I do a show with him called College Football Across America. We go live every Wednesday at 8 or 8:30 p.m. So make sure you check him out. He commented in the live chat earlier. So if you scroll up, just type his name, D4 Sports, ! Make sure to check him out. Also on the main channel, I'm a part of the College Football After Dark show. So make sure you sub up to Mark's main channel. We go live tomorrow, actually. Well, it's 12:44 a.m. So technically today, but Sunday nights, typically we usually go live at around 10 or 11. So it's just a bunch of us college football fans, talking football after dark, as the name suggests. We have a lot of fun. Get the live chat involved, and just kind of recap the games of the previous week, and give each other a little hard time and trash talk a little bit. But it's a lot of fun. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Jobo029 0209. I will put it in the I'll put it in the chat so you guys can see it, but because I don't have it in my username right now. So I normally tweet about Clemson, but you can. But I talk about college football in general as well. So if you guys are interested, give me a follow. Other than that, thank you guys for another great show. You guys were really supportive tonight. Love the interaction in the chat. Guys made some good points, and it was good to have that discussion. So once again, thanks for checking us out. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell because it lets you know when we go live. So make sure you guys do all that. And once again, thank you.
Yep, guys, that's going to be it for us tonight. WB2DX gets in the chat. Last one here. Who's on the IR list for next week? Not sure. But what I will say is tune into our pregame show, our preview show for the Wake Forest. We will be doing that this Friday. Our preview show for Wake Forest will be this Friday. So tune into that show. Hopefully throughout the week, those kind of things will develop, and we'll have a little bit more information to talk about who will be ready for the game and who won't be ready. But again, Jordan, thank you for tuning in. Guys, for those of you that don't know me, name on YouTube is Tiger Paul Craven. I have a YouTube channel as well. I don't really post a lot over there. Occasionally I post a video here and there. I do this show every week. I also do the preview show every week here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. And then I'm just sprinkled throughout all the comment sections in the college football community, making my comments and doing things like that, calling into live shows. So, again, thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you for showing the love. Thank you for getting into the comment section and interacting with us. And again, you guys are amazing. We'll see you next time.
Later, guys.